As a child, we look forward to growing up because of the freedom that it gives us. Freedom to eat candy, watch TV all day, stay up late. However, as we actually approach this new age of adulthood, this excitement slowly morphs into fear. This fear is rooted in two things. One, worries about what the future holds, which is natural because there is always fear in the unknown. And two, the thought that the best part of our lives have passed, which is something that the media has pushed on us. And this is what I would like to focus on today. The media isn't famous for perpetuating the idea that youth is the best time of our lives. We put youth on a pedestal because of its association with livelihood and beauty. As for livelihood, we tend to focus on the motivation, energy, and opportunities that we lose as we age, rather than looking forward to the knowledge and experiences that we will gain. This mindset that life begins and ends when we're young is what creates an unconscious barrier that stunts growth. It prevents us from becoming the best possible version of ourselves and only forces us to think about what we miss. Personally, I believe that the media has got it wrong. Our prime is not when we're in our 20s, but rather 2 or 3 decades later. This is because, on top of the knowledge gained in the first decades of our lives, we flourish with the added asset of experience. This experience that I'm talking about isn't something that will come to you overnight, and it definitely isn't something that will come to you by reading 1 or 2 books, but rather it comes over time with a series of successes and failures. Apart from the livelihood that is associated with youth, there is also an association with beauty. Now, I'd like to preface this by saying that precautionary measures to protect yourself, like using sunscreen, is incredibly important and encouraged. But our obsession to maintain youth is what has grown far out of control. From tweens using anti-aging products to people using anti-wrinkle straws, this standard of beauty that we have set out is just trying to prevent the inevitable. Now, I've found that this standard of beauty seems to disproportionately affect women. And I believe that this is because of the lack of representation of older women in the media. With a little bit of help from my friend Google, I found a study conducted by Dr. Martha Lozen, which reflects just this. In her study, she outlined that the media normalizes regressive ideas about gender and age, valuing females for their youth and beauty and males for their accomplishments. I reconstructed some of the data from her study into this graph, where we can see a sudden drop in people past their 40s, especially women. This tells us that the representation we see of women is usually, if not always, younger women. And it shows us that this is what we are unconsciously subjecting ourselves to live up to. When we abide by this trend, and we tell ourselves youth is the best and that nothing could ever be better, we forget to continue learning and we forget to continue loving the world around us, which is why it is really important that we make an effort to change this negative perception of aging. We need to change our approach, and we need to focus on things that contribute to emotional and intellectual strength, rather than visual aesthetics that will inevitably leave. And we need to be okay with losing certain aspects of our lives in order to gain others. When we do this, we allow ourselves to become the best version of ourselves. There's a quote by David Bowie that says, "Aging is an extraordinary process whereby you become the person you always should have been." The person who will have mastered both knowledge and experience, and the person who loves growth, whether that be the growth of perspective or the growth of a few gray hairs. So, my forever aging audience, I hope that instead of putting youth on a pedestal, you see the beauty and privilege in growing up. I hope that instead of looking in the mirror to judge your own visual aesthetics, you look for a reflection of kindness and wisdom in the people in the world around you. Thank you.